Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 222 of the High
Ooh.
Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news, as well as we watched or played over the week. My name is Barry, along with my singular co-host and also Penn State fan.
Yep, we're down to one Craig this week, but two Penn State fans.
Yes, other Craig is also a Penn State fan, but just
Yes.
before, we're not a sports podcast, but I just got to get this off my chest. Screw all you West Virginia people. It was
Yep.
all of the smack talk, all of the Pat McAfee show, getting all of his buddies to lick the butthole of West Virginia, and we just dog walked them. We put a leash on their necks and walked them straight to the park. They didn't even tug. They weren't even a bad dog. They just stayed there and they just walked. We walked them.
Yep. They even tried to get the weather to bail them out. Nothing.
They had phantom calls.
Yeah, they did.
There's
Two of them.
There's a phantom first down and a phantom touchdown that I still don't know like the booth had replays. We see the replays. Yeah, how could that be a touchdown? How could it be a first down? And they gave it to him anyway. Those refs got a little whiff of that Pat McAfee money. And we're like, we got to make it close.
Yep, and it still wasn't close.
Yeah, and look, the only reason it pisses me off is because then on Twitter, Pat McAfee goes, Penn State's really good. They might win the whole thing. Just shut the hell up. Like,
don't start now. Yep.
Yeah. You weren't on the wagon when we were on there. I get it. He's a WVU fan, but like still, like just the disrespect we've historically, not only just in the last year, historically we've owned them.
Yep.
We literally own the state of West Virginia football.
Yep.
The Mountaineers go into the Nittany Lion jungle and we just rip out their jugulars every time. Doesn't matter how many of them come into the jungle. They die, and I rip out their throats.
We're literally talking about it with my wife about, like, they call it a rivalry, but like it's kind of how I feel about calling us in Ohio State a rivalry, because like we haven't beat Ohio State in a long time.
Yeah,
so I don't consider it. I consider Ohio State owns us the same way we own West Virginia.
Yeah,
until proven otherwise.
Yeah, and why would we say yes? We just literally dog walked them in their own electric atmosphere. And they all quit after halftime, too. That student section was outrageously bad after the rain delay. It wasn't a long rain delay. But,
it was like 2 hours.
All of you crybaby West Virginia fans in my mentions and probably in the comment section, go and keep crying, keep being delusional. Drew Al is your dad. Nick Singleton's your dad. Coach Kotelnicki is your grandfather. Y'all just shut up and listen to grandfather talk.
That's true. Yep. We have to talk now while we're 1-0. We haven't lost anything. We have to get our talking in now.
Exactly. Yeah. We should probably talk about the news now. Now that I got that out of my.
It did feel good though.
Oh yeah, no. It's nice to have a platform just to say something and just put a leash on those West Virginia Mountaineers. I'm done with them. I don't want to hear from them for the rest of the season. What I do want to hear from is the news this week.
Yes. Bring it on.
All right. We did have a decent amount of showing at the Nintendo Direct. We had a 20-minute Indie World and a 20-minute Nintendo Direct. They did already say there was no new Switch game to be or not really any new Switch game, but no new Switch console as well. So we're still kind of waiting for that. But let's not take away from some of the highlights of this show. The Castlevania Dominious Collection, which is a collection of the DS Castlevania games. Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Excelsia.
Never played any of them.
Never played any of them. Apparently some of them are pretty good. I'm not a big, I'm trying to get more into 2D side scrollers.
Yeah.
And I will get into that in the game section this week. But a lot of people say they were pretty good. It was some of the first Castlevanias to make use of the touchscreen.
Okay.
Date everything. It is a dating simulator where everything is dateable. The game itself is dateable. The couch is dateable.
Okay.
For me, who's afraid of talking to women, this is it. This is exactly what I need to get over my fear of women. Is just pretend I can date everything.
Interesting. I must have missed this.
I wouldn't blame you.
It's also on Steam. I'm looking at the Steam page now. You
Yeah,
can
go ahead
date the
and
fridge.
date the fridge coon. It's all there. It's all.
Okay.
It looks like a funny game, to be
It
honest.
does.
I hope it doesn't take itself too seriously. Uh, just some of the other highlights. We had Peglin, which has been in early access on PC for a while, is coming to Switch. Tetris Forever is coming to Switch. Balatro DLC, which includes The Witcher, Dave the Diver, Among Us, and Vampire Survivor cards in the game. They got an announcement for me, a new Atelier game. Atelier Yumiya, The Alchemist of Memories, and The Envisioned Land.
Their titles are top notch.
Yeah, like
Every time.
every time. I
Yep.
can't you can't get away from them. We
Nope.
got Civ 7 on Switch. Yakuza Kiwami is the first Yakuza game to make its way onto Switch.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Don't know how that's going to play. But probably the I thought most likely the highlight was the Sea of Stars DLC getting announced. Throes of the Watchmaker. Your characters kind of get involved in this traveling circus sort of thing, and then they also become like circus people themselves. And it's free DLC coming out in 2025, and makes me like I've been meaning to start Sea of Stars, but I'm also started on other games, so
yeah,
I'll have to wait for now. But I'm excited to get into it when I can. Let's see here. Sonic and the Hedgehog 3 trailer. It's the Year of Shadow. I've mentioned this many times before. And Keanu Reeves is the one voicing Shadow. I was not expecting that.
Me neither.
I thought it looked pretty good. I'll be honest, like they didn't botch Shadow's design like they did with the first Sonic. Hopefully just a good movie. That's all I hope for, really. Let's see here. Amazon and Bandai shut down MMO Blue Protocol. Never released in the US. It was part of Amazon Games. It was like an anime and MMO, but we'll never get to play it. PS5 Pro rumors are starting to heat up big time this year. They're saying it's going to be announced within the next 1 or 2 weeks here.
That's crazy. Before the Switch too.
We got a whole PS4 Pro, I think, a PS5, and now a PS5 Pro before a Switch 2.
Yep.
It's a lot, and apparently the rumor is it is a digital only console, which means I'm not in the market for it right away because I'm not buying that attachment that now PlayStation is selling for an external disc drive. No, I'm not doing that. And big news for you, Remedy is going to team up with Annapurna for Control 2 and potential TV and movie projects.
Yeah, specifically Alan Wake and Max Payne.
Yeah. You think Max Payne would make a good TV show franchise thing?
I think it would make a good TV show. We already tried with the movie, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
I saw that in theaters. Now, to be fair, the people from Remedy did say that the original idea for the movie got scrapped because they didn't think it would test well with audiences. But I think Max Payne as a TV show, Alan Wake is a TV show 100%. It's set up as a TV show.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think so.
And lastly, we're going to talk about this game and games this week, but Visions of Mana Studio is reportedly being shut down after just releasing a game. It's really strange what's going on in all of this. A lot of it apparently has to do with owner Tencent is trying to get away from investing in Japanese developers. This is one of those studios where they're like, okay, they released a game, now we're going to let it all go. I thought they were under the Square Enix tent. Mm-hmm. This game is under the Square Enix tent, but it's also under Tencent as well. It's a really weird story, but what did you want to talk about this week? Or
that Visions of Mana thing was so weird, but also tied into that is they're letting people go from the studio that's redoing Until Dawn, and that's not even out yet.
Yeah.
So like you have that going on, and then also they release Visions of Mana, and then they're like, cool, we don't need you anymore. Like that's insane to me.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, it was strange.
Yeah. I have a few here. First one, Stalker 2. Running supposedly at 25 frames on the Series S.
We love it.
Not great. Microsoft is actually helping them out, which is good to see because that developed studio has gone through so much already. that the fact that they're trying to make it also work on the Series S, I'm glad that Microsoft's kind of stepping in and being like, let us help you out. But again, we need to just let the Series S die,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah.
because it's really putting a wrench in everything. Um, I wanted to bring up the little rumors, not rumors, about Black Myth Wukong on the Xbox. I don't know if you saw that
Yeah,
this
I
week.
did.
People saying it's not on the Xbox because it's at PlayStation paid for it to be a timed exclusive. Then you had the people from the studio saying, no, that's not the case. And then they're kind of walking it back. What do you think?
Um,
Do you think PlayStation
it,
paid to keep it
I
off?
I just don't know why this isn't something we don't already know.
Yeah.
Like all of the advertising, like yes, has been toward. I guess I'm trying to think of what they did with Stellar Blade, and I guess yeah, Stellar Blade really didn't say anything about
No.
whether or not it was being, whether or not it was a PlayStation exclusive, but it showed up in all of the PlayStation marketing.
Right.
So, but we knew it was being published by Sony, much like the Ninja game that came out earlier this year in February around Stellar Blade was also like published by Sony.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where I'm not completely sure, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me
Yeah.
if they did, but
If that's the case, though, because if you remember originally when they said it wasn't coming to Xbox, their answer was that they couldn't get it to run well enough,
yeah, on
right?
Series S, yeah,
So if that's the case and Sony paid for timed exclusivity, were they then lying back then
yeah,
and being like, "Oh, we couldn't make it work," when in actuality it was actually Sony's paying us, or do you think it's not, and it's really like a Series S issue again?
I I have, from what I've seen, I have a hard time believing that this game was going to run on a Series S,
Yeah,
and that's like Xbox's whole thing.
yeah,
Is like if you're releasing a game, it's got to release on the X and the S.
mm-hmm.
And I've from what we've seen, the game is a really buggy mess even on PC and PS5. So if
Right,
that's the case, how is it ever going to be on a Series S? I want to say it's a mixture of the two.
mm-hmm.
Of with all the money they made off of the copies being sold on PlayStation, they probably now have the money or investment that they could make it work or something like that. But I truly don't know. It is a weird, strange thing. If Sony did do that and if Sony told them, "Oh, you have to lie," I feel
Yeah.
like that's a really scummy move. Like
I don't
if
think they
that's
did
what
that
happened.
though. Yeah. I just think I don't even know if they paid for I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but it's an interesting story. Um, Next, I have another interesting story. I think we're getting a lot of hints that Metal Gear Solid 4 is coming to modern consoles. Would you want to play through that again if it's not like a full remaster, just a
I
port?
I would.
Okay.
Uh, Guns of the Patriot, is that Guns of the Patriot
Yep.
4?
That's your Metal Gear.
Yeah, so I want to say I would probably, just because it is such a big moment in my gaming history where, like, someone like me who never played any of the Metal Gear games, and I played that game, and at the ending I was like, this is a masterpiece
Yeah.
sort of deal. Like that was one of the first times where I ever felt like I was playing, like, this game is awe-inducing, it's incredible
Yeah.
sort of deal. So I would want to play it also just to see, like, okay, I am older now. I have more games under my belt that I can remember playing. Does it still hold up?
Yeah.
Because like
That's it.
Ocarina of Time for me still holds up. Like I
Mm-hmm.
could play that game and I could just play it, and it
Yep.
still holds up to this day. Not a lot of old games do that. Can
Very.
this do that?
I think it still can. I think it could use a remaster, but I think if they're just porting it over like they did with 1 and 2 and 3, that's fine.
Hmm.
That's totally fine. Tying into what we'll talk about again, games we played, I just wanted to bring up Concord debuted to 697 current players on Steam.
It's kind of funny, and I did not play this game,
Oh, I
but
did.
okay. But like from what I hear, it's not a terrible game. It's just that this marketplace is so crowded
Yeah.
with free to play hero shooters where everybody's burnt out on Overwatch anyway.
Yep.
And if they're playing any hero shooters right now, everybody's kind of waiting for Marvel Rivals.
Yep.
So why Sony kind of released this is still beyond me. If it's maybe it'll be good enough later in life to kind of gain some supporters, but I really won't be surprised if in a year they go, yeah, this doesn't have enough players. This isn't enough for us.
Yep. That first trailer, which was not that long ago, I think Sony, because like they gave it such a big push, I think Sony saw the response and was like, "Oh my god, just release it." You know what I mean? Like this did not hit the way we thought it was going to. Just put it out and let's move on. Because it gave you that. We watched that trailer and I'm like, "Oh, they're really pushing this," and then it
Yeah,
just disappeared. And
yeah,
then I was like, "Good."
and that trailer showed us no inclination of being a hero shooter.
Yep.
Like I thought it was going to be something along the lines of a co-op Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Just because they had somewhat interesting characters from what I could tell, and a party of 4 that seemed to banter with each
Mm-hmm.
other. It gave a lot of that feel. And then to find out it's a hero shooter, you're like, what? And then they're trying to make it narrative in some ways by giving you these really high detail cutscenes in after your matches. It's such an
Yeah.
odd way of thinking.
It really is. But yeah, I'll get into it when we get into games played. One that hits near and dear to me is the information that came out on Crash Bandicoot 5 that was
Yeah.
canceled. I just recently, they dropped the Crash Bandicoot collection on Game Pass. So I went through and I got all 3,000 achievement points on that thing. But the biggest thing for me was there were some images that of the like artwork and that kind of stuff that came out. They were planning on making it a team up with Spyro, which to me would have been very cool to combine the two. And the other thing that came out was they were kind of putting emphasis on Crash Bandicoot 4 did not sell well enough. Crash
Mhm.
Bandicoot 4 sold 5 million copies. And somehow,
Did not sell enough.
yeah, did not sell enough. So okay. I'm still going to hold out hope that Crash shows up again at some point. I know they did say that when they put that on Game Pass, the amount of people playing it was like staggering in the first week. So maybe that gives it more like hope with Microsoft to kind of put a push behind it. I hope so because Crash Bandicoot is near and dear to me. That's
It's
my
one of the
childhood.
it's one of the staples of gaming in
Yeah,
general. It'd be sad to see it go, but if 5 million isn't a success, then
yeah. The what
does it have
is?
to be 10?
Yeah,
Like you got
yeah.
to realize that a lot of these kids now aren't into puzzle platforming. Like
Right.
Crash kind of goes to a certain demographic who know who Crash is.
Mm-hmm.
And I will admit the platform doesn't seem very friendly to kids sometimes. It's
Oh yeah,
definitely more
Crash
of a
Bandicoot games are tough.
yeah,
And
they're
Crash 4 was borderline impossible.
yeah. So that's what I find strange. Like if they were to change their marketing to like be more kid friendly, maybe it wouldn't be maybe kids wouldn't be so afraid to go to it and maybe try the game out. Where
Yeah.
like you could see the videos, like the platforming is difficult. It
Yeah.
is.
It's
So
rough. And then last thing, we're going to go with tapping into also fellow kids. Let's talk about GameStop Retro.
yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, a nice, nice, interesting idea. I like the idea of GameStop rebranding some of their stores. Now, to be fair, I looked and the closest store for us is like 2 hours
Oh
away.
yeah. Yep. I saw that
But
too.
with a heavy emphasis on retro games, selling, buying retro games, I've seen a bunch of pictures and I've seen some very good looking stores and some absolutely abysmal looking stores. Um, it kind of seems like another last ditch effort for GameStop. I feel like we just got out of them doing retro, didn't we? Not that
Well,
long ago.
they're always taking in retro games, but
Yeah,
I think now they're trying to go for that retro feel and that you can actually buy them in store.
right,
Because like for us, our local like kind of retro gaming, so to speak, is cartridges galore,
right.
and maybe they're trying to push into that market where it's like it's there, you see it, and you can buy it,
Mm-hmm.
sort of deal. Because a lot of the times I'm not thinking about retro games unless I'm in the area and looking physically at them.
Sure.
Uh, or you're a collector of some sort who's looking for it and always looking online. Um,
Yeah.
GameStop's kind of only get so much traffic to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
so
I would
seeing.
I just wanted to point this out with this story because I'm kind of a little bit of a rant here, but GameStop has always been known for if you're trading in your games, you're not going to get much, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
with the retro side of the business, there is a corner of that they could take away from these other stores. Now, like I'm specifically talking about us locally. Cartridges Galore is our local. Now they're in a bunch of states.
Hmm.
They're not just here, but specifically this past week. Now, for those who don't know, I think I've said it before, but like I was trying to buy every Super Nintendo game, right? I'm over 100. I think I'm at like 140 games right now. I decided this past week that I was like, this is super unattainable. I'd rather get out now. So I started seeing if I could sell some of these off, right?
Hmm.
So I took a box of 25 Super Nintendo games to our local Cartridges Galore to see how much they would give me to see if it was viable for me to go in there or if I need to go through eBay or whatever. Now, beforehand, I went on price charting. I charted them all. I was looking at a value of about $235.
Hmm.
When I went in, they gave me an offer of store credit $80, cash 60, right?
Oh, yeah,
So like
that
there's
is.
a right, and I laughed in their face. And like the thing is like I've gone in there so much that like I'm good friends with them. And he even said, he's like, "Oh, were you looking for more?" And I literally told him, I was like, "You and I both know that I use price charting, they use price charting. We know how much these games are worth. You're not even giving me half. You're giving me a quarter."
Yeah.
And like that's ridiculous. But GameStop could, even if they gave half, could very well take away from these stores, but I don't think they would. I should
Hmm.
probably check and see like what the trade-in values are, but I feel like it's probably about the same.
Yeah, and that's what they end up doing. I know
Yep.
I've been to our local Cartridge Galore, like they go on to GameStops, look at the trade-in value, and then offer maybe $2 or $3 more. Like
Yeah.
it's not anything spectacular, but
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I would love if we had one closer, but we don't. So maybe if I'm happen to be near one, I'll check it out.
yeah, exactly. We'll have to see. Maybe we make a field trip out of it.
There we go.
Um, one little news segment I wanted to start doing is I wanted to do games coming out this month.
Okay.
I got a list of the games coming out this month here. People who listen to our podcast, like games are coming out so often, we pretend to forget that they even come out sometimes.
Mhm.
So, in doing this, I'm hoping that people begin to like. I have a calendar where I mark, okay, this is a release I'm getting. This is the day it comes out, sort of deal.
Sure.
for the month of for the month of September, we have Harry Potter Quidditch Champions coming out on all platforms. It is a free to play game, kind of. You
Yep.
pre-order it is included on Sony's PlayStation Plus program, and it is $30 or $40 everywhere else. Prison Architect also on September 3rd. Star Trucker on PC September 3rd. Age of Mythology Retold on Xbox Series platforms and PC coming out September 4th. Also on Game Pass, there is a early access that you can join and pay for to have access to it now.
Star
Uh,
Trucker's on Game Pass too, day one.
is it okay?
Yep. Mhm.
Um, Stalker 2 is not coming out September anymore.
Nope.
This is an old list from Game Informer, so just keep in mind that I cannot update this list anymore. Uh, we have What the Car September 5th. Then we kind of have our first bigger one, Astrobot September 6th,
Yep.
coming out on Friday. We then game I'm sort of interested in but never played the series, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 is coming out. Yars Rising is coming out September 10th. Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown September 12th. Wild Bastards September 12th. Demon School September 13th. Evo Tinction September
Okay.
13th. Funko Fusion September
Hey.
13th. Throne and Liberty September 17th. Frostpunk 2 September 20th. Maxbox Driving Adventures September 20th. Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed coming out September 24th.
Forgot about that.
Lollipop Chainsaw Repop coming out September 25th. Earth Defense Force World Brothers 2 September 26th. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom September 26th. And Reynatus September 27th.
It's a decent month.
It is a decent month. I have quite a couple of these highlighted.
To be fair, though, it does seem kind of nice. Like, okay, it's not insanely busy, so the millions of games that we're trying to play right now, we got some time.
Yeah, but like Yars Rising,
Yeah.
Hammer,
Yep.
Astrobot, like
Test
the games
drive.
that
Yeah.
the games that are coming out, they'll be
Yeah,
on us before we know it. September's gonna go quick.
it is.
I'll tell you that
Au-
much.
August went insanely fast.
Yeah. Hashtag old.
Yep.
Games this
Oh
week
dear Lord.
around.
Here we go.
Gundam Breaker 4, Visions of Mana,
Mm-hmm.
and talking about 2Ds, PlayStation Plus has Ender Lilies, Quietus of the
Yeah.
Nights available, and I started playing that.
Downloaded it. I didn't play it yet. For me, Visions of Mana, Concord, Black Ops 6, the beta, Star Wars Outlaws, and another check-in for Black Myth Wukong.
Wow, geez,
I
okay.
told you there's a lot. Trying to I'm trying to handle them all, and
We
there's just too many.
we combined handled all of the games this
We
week.
did. We did.
So let's see here. Let me get into Ender Lilies,
Yeah.
and I will let you go into some of the other games.
Sure.
Before we get into kind of our bigger ones. Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights. There is another Ender Lilies game coming out, so I kind of wanted to get into this. The art style looked right up my alley. I am having a lot of fun playing this on my PlayStation Portal.
Oh,
It
perfect.
is,
Okay.
it's kind of this perfect PlayStation Portal game. An update on my Portal usage. I haven't been using it a lot, but with the start of college football and NFL football,
Ooh.
I can now play my games and have the game on my TV at the
Win-win.
same time. Yeah, now I'm starting to see where this PlayStation Portal makes sense. And Ender Lilies is kind of this game where it's really reactive on the Portal. It's not like missing my inputs or feeling too laggy.
Okay.
So I've been enjoying it. I have a hard time getting into these games. Metrovanias and side scrollers are not so much my thing.
Mhm.
I'm not a big fan of backtracking and
Me neither.
having to remember that, oh wait, I unlocked this power up. This allows me to go all the way up to the top where I was and unlock this door, and then unlock something else. That's I find that more tasking than fun. And so far, I'm very early into it, but I like it because it's got some RPG elements to it as well. You can like level up, you become more powerful.
Okay. See, my problem has always been with Metroidvanias is it gives me flashbacks to when I was a kid, and like almost every Nintendo game was a Metroidvania pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And it would come down to like I would literally have a piece of paper and I would draw the rooms
Yeah,
as I went through them, and then I would mark them with like, okay, I need to come back here. And that's why when I played the Prince of Persia game at the very beginning of this year, they let you mark on your map in game, like so you remember to go back. Which I was
yeah.
like, oh, it's like my childhood. Yeah, that always drives me nuts on those type of games. But I did have this downloaded because I wanted to try it. It looks good.
And so far, like you'll have to see how you like it, because
Mhm.
it is fairly basic in the beginning, and I kind of have no idea what's going on.
Fair. There was another one I was playing before all these games came out. Blasphemous.
Yeah.
I was playing that one. That was on PlayStation Plus as well. Okay. Let me check back in with Black Myth Wukong real quick. I had talked to the other Craig as well this past week, and I think he's on like chapter 3, or he might be farther now. I'm still on chapter 2, probably about 10 hours or so in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm getting to the point where I'm still enjoying it, but some of the bosses, because there are so many, seem a little unfair. To the point where like I was looking it up because there is a tiger that you fight, and I was like reading all these Reddit posts, and everybody was like, "Yeah, this is where the game starts to feel not like a checkpoint of like skill check, but like this is just unfair." Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's like his attacks are he delays swinging by like a fraction of a second to throw off your dodge. There's attacks that like you can't actually dodge them all. It's impossible. It's just stuff like that that was really making me angry. And like you expect to get angry with these type of games, but it was like, okay, this isn't like all right, I died to him 40 times. 30 of them were my fault for sure. But like 10 of them, I don't feel like were my fault until I finally beat him. And then I beat him and went right to like the next boss like 10 minutes later. And it was literally me being like, oh my God, here we go again.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, and it's just like, okay, so I had to put it down. But I'm still going to attempt to play through it. But when there's all these other games, something little like that, you're like, all right, moving on. You know, like there's 4 other games that are asking for my attention. So I'm just going to put you down for now and probably come back
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Um, Concord, just real quick. If there was an award for best menus, I think Concord wins.
Oh, best menus. Okay, we
Those
got a
those
best menu
those
nomination.
menus are slick.
Okay.
And like I enjoy the opening cutscene. I enjoy the cutscenes. I just they don't have anything to do with the game because the game is just Overwatch or uh, Valorant or that kind of stuff. And I played like 5 matches and I went, nope, you
Yeah.
know, I'm good. But the overall look is very impressive, so I will
Yeah.
give them that. But I have no desire to play that game again. Not for me, and I don't think it's going to stick around. I think in
Yeah.
3 months it's going to be gone.
Okay, we'll have to see. Um, I know we both played Visions of Mana. I want
Mm-hmm.
you to tell me about Outlaws because I've been on the fence
Sure.
for this.
I wore my Star Wars shirt and everything, guys.
Does this mean
Okay.
Star Wars is back?
Okay. So here's the thing. There's a lot of talk going on about this game right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of stuff on TikTok
Yep.
everywhere. Like,
Yep.
oh my God, the bugs! Look at these bugs. The bugs are there. 100% the bugs are there. I've had a few of them.
You can't hold
Um,
on to your primary, apparently.
the gun?
Yeah, like you always have your blaster, is what I've
Yes.
seen on TikTok. But then anytime you pick up somebody else's weapon,
Yes.
like when you go to like jump to something, she drops it, or
Mhm.
jump on something else, she drops it.
Yes. Which is intentional.
Okay.
You find those guns like kind of around the world and you can pick them up and use them, but you're never intended to keep them. You're always supposed to default back to your blaster and you upgrade your blaster as you go.
Gotcha.
Um, I think that the style, the way the game looks, the time period, which is between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, the story, the main character, I think are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um, I really like the game a lot, but
Okay.
it has those Ubisoft problems.
Open world. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the bugs are there. I remember seeing the same type of bugs in a million Assassin's Creed games. They've always been there. They just are always going to be there. But the idea of like the intro's good, it gets you into the world, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to go to this planet. I'm going to get on my speeder. I can jump in my spaceship and take off and have space battles, fly to other planets. It's what we wanted from Starfield, right? And then fly into the
Yeah.
cities, and the cities are populated. I did see people saying like, well, you can't like, I don't even remember who it was, but it was like you can't bump into the people in the city and like move them out of the way like they do in like Red Dead. That's true. But the fact that like you can go to the cantina and you can play sabak and you can bet on races and like all the stuff that you would expect are there, or you can
Yeah.
just go lean up against the bar and just kind of like look around and listen to people talking. I think is cool. That's what we want in a Star Wars game. You want to like fully immerse yourself. um I think it's a flawed good game.
Yeah.
I kind of took offense to the way Greg Miller was bashing the hell out of this game. um I don't know. It's just like the same thing. Like, do you do the same type of bashing for a Fallout game for bugs? I don't think they do. Did we bash Assassin's Creed Odyssey for its bugs, or did we say like Assassin's Creed Odyssey is like one of the best games Ubisoft's ever made? Right? There's
I know we bashed them for
we
their
did,
bugs.
we did,
I
yeah,
I played Odyssey late, so I know I didn't have the same bugs as everyone else did.
sure.
But
Yeah,
I know for Fallout and Starfield we did.
I think it's worth it, honestly. If you like
Hmm.
Star Wars, I don't think if you don't like Star Wars, I don't think you're going to see anything there that's like going to drag you in.
Yeah.
But for me, who loves Star Wars and loves the universe, you can't beat it, man. You really can't. It's one of the better Star Wars games I've seen.
That makes you more excited to play it. I will probably wait for a sale because I
Yeah,
feel like this game's
yeah,
going to go on sale at some point pretty quickly. So I wanted to I'm excited for that now.
yeah,
I hope to dive into it when we get some more free time. Some
yeah.
of my free time right now is being taken up by Gundam Breaker 4.
Okay,
This is a kind of a return to action for them. They did Gundam Breaker 1, 2, and 3. 3 did not review very well, so then they came out with New Gundam Breaker. New Gundam Breaker was a complete failure. No one liked it. We now get Gundam Breaker 4.
okay.
Uh, if you don't know what this is, Gundam Breaker is a video game ism of Gunpla. And if you don't know what that is Gundam's like assembling of Gundams. Like
Okay.
you've seen the kits around, they have those little pieces, you break them off, you break them out of their shell, and you slowly put together a Gundam. In this game, it's all about freedom of sticking one Gundam's hands to another Gundam and mashing it together. Like your Gundams will look like atrocities to begin with. And I kind of like that. I
Okay.
kind of like the fact that my Gundam looks very stupid in the beginning. As you continue to play this game, you continue to lock better and cooler parts. And it's I want to say it's more like a Dynasty Warriors where you equipped your Gundam with beam sabers and guns and cannons and all of these special weapons, and then you go out and kind of take enemies out pretty easily. There are these larger sized Gundams that are kind of the last stage of a stage where they're the boss, and they have kind of special moves and stuff. As someone who is new to this game, in this type of game, I'm actually really enjoying it. Uh, they give you a lot of parts. The parts make your Gundam, and they show you in detail what all of the parts and the attacks. As long as the sorry,
Too
give me a
excited.
second.
He's too
Yeah, too
excited about
excited here.
this game, guys.
As long as the numbers go up in green, you know you're kind of building up towards something. And it's not only the fact that you can kind of do this PvE thing. You and your friends can play in a PvE type match. You can play PvP as well if you want to play against other people and their Gundams that they make. It's I find the flexibility really impressive because Gunpla is about like building your Gundams and building your own kind of massive machine of destruction. And then on top of that, there's also this other part where you get to take Gundams that you defeat and you can create these kind of action dioramas in like a photo mode. And it is one of the most extensive things I've ever seen. You can set up trees, set up mountains, set up Gundams in almost any which way you want.
Hmm.
And I'm not a person that's going to be taking this diorama thing very seriously, but there are a lot of people that do, and they look incredible.
Okay.
Like I have to give it to them to not only like make me happy with the hack and slash stuff, but also do this diorama thing where people love to take their Gundams and put them in like custom like photo shoot sort of things, and that's really impressive. I didn't have a lot of expectations coming into this game. I was excited just because I am a very I want to say very basic Gundam fan, but I'm very surprised with how much fun I am having. The controls are not like one thing. What kind of bad thing to say about it is the controls are not Armored Core. Armored Core feels very fluid in its controls, and it's all about being very speedy or heavy. And there's an aspect in Gundam Breakers to that, but it is not to the extreme extent that Armored Core takes it. So it's kind of this in between where it's not as complicated as
More
Armored Core is what
accessible.
I want to. Yeah, I want to say it's more accessible, and I think they did that on purpose.
Okay.
Uh, Many people also would say that this Gundam Breaker is a return to form. A lot of people who I have watched kind of review this game and talk about early access do say that this is a return to form for what they wanted out of a new Gundam Breaker. And surprisingly, again, I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Are you playing on Switch?
I'm playing on Steam. My brother
Okay.
got me the code for my birthday,
Oh,
so
okay. Cool.
I got it on Steam. I'm not
Sweet.
having any issues. I was afraid to play it on Switch. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Um, Really, any game coming out now, if I can avoid getting it on Switch, I am.
Yep.
Just because I know that I most likely will run into issues.
Yeah. because they refuse to upgrade their hardware or tell
And
us when the new one's coming.
yeah, and we only have to wait probably another 6 months, and then we'll eventually get one, and hopefully within 2 months they eventually tell us.
Yeah. Okay. Black Ops 6 before we get into Visions of Mana.
Yeah, yeah,
You did not play the beta yet?
no,
Interesting. Okay. Uh Man,
it's the next coming of Christ.
it's not. Uh it's so catered to sweaty now. It's I think it's past I might be just past my prime, but like the omnidirectional movement has just made it so everybody is just like sliding and spinning in the air, and like it's just so
I've seen a lot of
far,
TikTok,
yeah,
and
it's so
I'm
far
scared.
away from where we should be in a Call of Duty game. And it's very obvious that they're just like, well, people are sweaty in Call of Duty games, so let's just lean into that heavily. I'm still going to hold out hope for the single player, but I can't see myself playing this multiplayer very long. I'm going to try it again when it comes out, only because these betas are kind of hard to tell because it's always game modes that I never play
Yeah,
ever. It's always like hard point, and like very rarely will you get like a team deathmatch or like the VI escort the VIP. I don't care about those game modes. Nobody does. So I'll try it again when it comes out. The guns feel fine, but man, that omnidirectional movement is, I'll just say it's straight garbage. It's
yeah.
garbage.
I've from what I've seen from clips, I am afraid because like
Yeah, be afraid.
there there was a point to being like sort of tactical and knowing you had
Yeah.
the advantage, especially like on a staircase, for example. But now somebody can just fly over the staircase and look down at you while he's moving, like he's in Max Payne,
Yep.
and shoot you.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where it definitely feels like it is playing to the people who just sprint the entire time in a direction,
Yep.
and
It's
and
catering towards the streamers.
yeah.
That's what they're doing, and I get it. Like they're the ones who are sticking with these games, but man, like for I would consider myself a casual Call of Duty player now, not like I used to be. This game is not for me. It wasn't built for me. But I like I said, hopefully the single player is good. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. It's on Game Pass, so it's not like we're out the money if it
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. Visions of Mana?
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to go into it first, or you want me to start?
Go ahead.
Visions of Mana, I am very much into. I am enjoying this game a lot. I kind of had some performance issues when I was playing on the demo. I haven't seen them yet
Mhm.
in the PS5 version of the game, but I think the combat is incredibly fun. The characters are very endearing. Val and Hina's chemistry, you can like it's right off the start.
Mhm.
You can feel kind of what they have coming and they have, at risk and that sort of thing. But I did not expect to have as much fun with this game as I am. And
Yeah.
it is a this is a game that's kind of has its hooks in me right now, where I am enjoying playing the combat. And the demo, I feel like, threw too much at you at once, so I did not get the combat system. I am fully capable now.
Yeah.
I under the start of the game feeds you in a natural way where I am not like bombarded like I was in the demo with menu after menu after menu after menu. Like they give you a chance to
Yep.
sort of, hey, do this, do what we ask you to do, so you learn it. I still don't know how to create shortcuts in my little rings, so I don't have to scroll through Fireball every time. But I get it. Like I understand the combat and I'm having fun with it. I know it's only going to get a little bit more complicated as I add more party members. I'm interested to see where it continues to go. The start of the game is not what I expected, and I'm interested, like, because it's obvious they're trying to do this. Here's one side of the coin, and
Yeah.
here's the other. Here's people who fight fate, and here's people who accept it. So, I don't think that's a spoiler in any way. I'm not far enough to
No,
spoil anything.
no, it's not. Yeah, I think I just went over the 3 hour mark. I
Okay.
think. So I just got my technically would be my third party member Um, yeah, I think my biggest issue was exactly what you said from the demo was like it was too much, and they do a fantastic job of drip feeding you stuff. So it's like, okay, now you're gonna just do normal attacks for 30 minutes. Now we're gonna give you fireball. Now we're gonna give you this, and then like the one I just got was the different classes. Now I have
Yeah.
different classes, which changed it up again. Um, it's a feel good like kind of casual RPG so far. And I know it's going to get more in depth and detailed. I appreciate that. Like if I just want to control the main character and not switch, you can.
Yeah.
You don't have to switch. I think people who master the combat will be switching all over the place. I prefer to just let me control my one character, let everybody else do their thing. I got one that's going to heal me over here. I got one that's doing damage. That's how I play. That's how I've always played those games. Um, Story seems good. It looks good. And it's just super like, it's cozy, right? Like they
Yeah.
show you on the map where the chests are, so you're just kind of like running around the areas, picking up the chest before you move on, picking up your grizzly. Oh my god.
Yeah, the grizzly honey or something like
Yeah.
that.
Like I got to get all the grizzly juice.
Yeah.
Voice acting's good. It just feels like I don't know, it helps me relax. It's a
Yeah.
very relaxing game.
I will say one of the things like you had this criticism of Stellar Blade.
Mhm.
The overworld music is pretty boring. It does tend to cycle. So
Mhm.
like for me already, and I'm only out an hour and a half into the game. I don't even have the Veil of Wind yet, or
Okay.
the Alm. Sorry, the Alm of Wind.
Yep.
So I find myself like putting on a podcast or putting on something else,
Mhm.
and then when like cutscenes happen and story exposition begins to start, I then pause that and then I listen to what's going on because
Fair.
there's not a lot of story dumping in the middle of combat as of right now, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
But I am much happier with how this game feeds you its combat system, not in the demo.
Yeah.
I
I
I was not the biggest fan of the way it was in the demo.
Me
I was
neither.
very
I
confused.
was lost. My
Yeah.
only issue, slight issue, is that I'm nervous because of all these games that have come out. This is not a game that you can get 15 hours into and then drop it and come back to,
And know
because
what's going on.
you're
You
gonna
will,
forget
yeah. Yep.
everything.
Yep. I
So
feel the
like
same way.
I'm like, all right. So I looked it up and I was like, all right, how long is this game? And it says like 30 to 40 hours is typical.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm like, all right, do I just stick with this and ignore Star Wars and Wukong, or do like, I don't know. I'm just nervous. I'm going to start playing other things and come back and be like, I don't even remember how to play, and then I just drop it.
Yeah,
Th-
I'm kind of in the same way right now where I keep like dipping my toes into visions and
yeah.
then I go back to P3R
Hmm.
and then like I need to stop playing FIFA 24, I'll be honest, cuz FIFA FC 25 is coming out later this month
Yep.
and it's like I need to stop playing 24 and so I can focus on those two games cuz the DLC is coming out for
Yeah.
P3R soon.
Right.
So I didn't play Secrets of Mana.
Hmm.
I do know they released it, pretty much re-released it on everything
Yep.
at one point. But I am very happy with this game and I am enjoying it. I'm kind of playing it like a Kingdom Hearts. I
Yeah.
kind of treat Val as Sora and everyone else as their own thing.
That's actually pretty close. Like it does feel like a Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah, like your party is going to add more people and
Yep.
Goofy and Donald can't change classes like these guys can,
True.
but they kind of are able to they are competent AI.
They
They
are.
do not they do not need their handheld unless you're trying to do something very specific.
Yeah. It could be potentially be a game of the year
Yeah,
if I finish
I'm
it.
yeah, I am the same way.
Yep.
We have to see whether or not this game actually gets all of its grips into
Yep.
me.
Yep.
But those you have anything else that you played or was that it?
I
All
think I
right.
got through them all.
I think we've a busy week for both of
Yeah.
us. We got through all the games. But because of all those games, I did not watch anything movie
Okay.
wise. And I forgot to watch Kiki's when I was writing the script. My bad.
I did not watch it either. And
Okay.
Kiki's, just because of the amount of games and stuff. But I did watch Trapped, and
Okay.
I did watch Borderlands.
Okay. Tell
Uh,
me.
okay, we'll start with Borderlands. Um,
Hmm.
I don't think it's worse than Madam Web because I think
That's a good sign.
Madam Web is like the low
Yeah,
bar, right?
the lowest bar. Yeah,
There was parts of the movie that I could appreciate as someone who's played the games. Um, like Lilith getting on Marcus's bus and he's like, "Hello, Vault Hunter," and all that, like the intro from the Borderlands games. I'm like, okay, there's stuff in there that I was like, yeah, I can appreciate that. Um, but for the caliber of people who are in this movie, uh, it sure does feel like they all phoned it in. And I don't know
yeah.
if it was like they knew it was bad. It's interesting because there's been reports that the stuntmen were like, "Oh no, when we were filming the stunts, they told us it was rated R." He's like, "There was, blood and like decapitated
Hmm.
heads." So like, I don't know if that was the same when they were filming. Jack Black is fine as Claptrap, but again, he filmed completely separate from the rest of the cast. He was in a sound booth somewhere completely else. Uh, some of the CGI looks downright atrocious,
Yeah,
awful for the amount of money that this movie has. Um, it's a bad movie. It's bad, but I don't think it's the worst movie of the year. But it's a disgrace to
there's a nominee.
Borderlands.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Um, if you're curious, I guess watch it, but like I would not go out of your way. I just wanted to watch. I was hate watching the whole thing. I was
yeah,
like, I need to see how bad. Just like Madam Web.
yeah.
Um,
Curiosity for the
yeah,
most part.
yeah. It's just, oh my god. I I don't I would like a documentary on how this movie went so wrong because it seemed like it was right there in front of them. And I don't know how they messed it up. Casting, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, no, it also seems like the plan was for it to be rated R, and then
yep.
someone switched it,
Yep.
and it was like, oh, well, maybe we get a PG-13
Hmm.
sort of deal
So we
there,
can
and
get
it's
younger kids.
yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, but like, you've no idea how many kids watch Deadpool versus
Yep.
Wolverine. Like,
Yep.
rated R did not matter.
There's this stigma that rated R doesn't make money,
Yeah,
even though Deadpool and Wolverine just made so much money. It doesn't matter. The
exactly.
executives still are like, a rated R is a death mark, and we're not going to make money. I don't know why they can't see that, but anyway. Trapped, the M Night Shyamalan movie with Josh Hartnett.
Hmm.
Um, this is also a bad movie. Let me
Yeah,
just put it out there. My wife really wanted to see it. We saw it. The idea of is interesting, right? Serial killer going to a concert with his daughter. The concert is a setup to arrest him because they know he's going to be there. They just don't know what he looks like. But it's written so poorly. And again, I will die on the hill that M Night Shyamalan is an awful writer, awful. His dialogue is atrocious. Josh Hartnett is trying with this dialogue, but it's really bad. And it's just like it's like Tom and Jerry stuff. That's like him trying to outsmart the cops, and it's like, oh, let me put these bottles of oil in a fry cooker, and then it'll explode in this girl's face, and that'll help me get out of here. It's just stupid stuff like that.
it's almost like Home Alone type
Yes,
stuff.
yeah, and like the ending is bizarre. Um, I just don't like. He's not a good director. He's not a good writer. He did fine with Signs and Sixth Sense, but since then he's been awful. I don't know how he keeps getting movies. This whole thing was set up very obviously because his daughter makes music. His daughter is playing the girl who is doing the concert, Lady Raven, and it's all her music. So it's very obvious he wrote this movie around the premise of his daughter having a
Dedicated
concert.
father.
Yeah,
Dedicated father. I got to give that to him.
and then later, when she becomes kind of an important part of the movie, she's a horrible actress as well. So it doesn't help. But yeah, this is a 100% pass. Don't even bother.
Well, all right. Anything else? Anything else we got to mention or anything like that? Cool.
I don't think so.
Uh, West Virginia, you suck. I don't really care what else you have to say. I don't want to hear from you guys for the rest of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I will bask in any. I hope somebody gets to rub the salt in Pat McAfee's wound. I
Yes.
really hope I get. He's not going to. He gets to control the show, but let a Penn Stater break down that terrible footage WVU put out, and all of the stupid trash talk.
Yes.
But if you're still listening, even after that rant, I just want to say I appreciate the support you guys give us. If you could leave a like or a recommend on your podcast listening platform of choice, write a review if you feel so inclined, share it with a friend. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe. I kind of want to know, do you guys want me to keep up with these monthly releases things? Should I do something else for October so that way people know what's coming out, what to bookmark on their calendar, sort of deal there? I think it's helpful considering that Game Informer, a site that used to do that fairly well, has now been shut down.
Don't get them started.
Yep, I'm not going to. I'm going to stop. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See ya.